A little history, if you will. It's the end of 6.4 and speedkill groups are sending in their final assignments for the final tier of the expansion. Nothing seems amiss as logs are being submitted one by one. Well, nothing's amiss except for Exception. At first look, Exception is just another great group full of speed demons, but they're doing something that others aren't. In the first second of the fight, they managed to pull a full limit break bar out of their ass, gaining a big advantage over the other groups. This chain of events sparked total commotion, not only causing a mass drama on the FF Logs Discord, but also the reinstatement of the Athenian democracy, the implosion of the submarine, and mostly just a big shake-up in the speedkilling meta. All drama aside, Team Exception uploaded their logs at the end of the Vasios, and with that, revealed they were generating a free LP1 at the start of every fight. So how did they do it? And how can we replicate it for ourselves? This guide is a part 2, and is assuming you've already watched my previous guide, which I will link in the top right and in the description. Let's get started. Before we get into it, let's introduce an old friend. Please welcome Little Timmy the Red Mage. When Timmy drops below 10% and we heal them, you generate LB. If you have more Little Timmys the Red Mages, you will generate more LB. But oh, did you see that? It looks like the Little Timmys are not receiving the heals at the same time. In fact, it's propagating through the Timmy party like they're waiting in line for their bento boxes. In Final Fantasy XIV, this is a very real thing. Have you ever cast a heal before the raid wide, died to it, and then screamed, "But I pressed a heal"? Well, this is it. When you cast a heal, it takes time for the heal to actually activate, after which it needs even more time to propagate throughout all the party members one by one. And, well, we can abuse this. When you take off all of your clothes and equip any weapon without stats, you can cast incredibly small heals. Now, we can combine these techniques and do the following steps. First, we will take off all of our clothes. Just before the fight starts, we cast a heal. That's extremely weak, because we have no gear on. While this heal is awaiting to activate, and still traveling to the party, we swap to our strong gear and quickly start the fight. Now, the fight has started. Limit break generation is enabled, and the weak heal is starting to propagate throughout the party. When the heal finally reaches a party member, it will heal them for a comically low amount, letting them stay under that important 10% threshold, which will allow us to do it again and again and again and again and again and again. All we need to do is to get as many of these weak heals lined up as possible, and we will generate a lot of LB, completely for free. So, how do we do it? First off, what can we use? Astrologians can prepare a horoscope, then cast a Helios and reactivate the horoscope before swapping to standard gear. Sages can cast a small shield, then cast a normal prognosis while weaving pepsis before swapping. White mages can use Medica and weave Assize, but this will make the Assize very weak, so only use it if you're gaining enough LB for a usage. Scholars, extremely interesting, as using emergency tactics with Succor brings 2 healing components. The first healing component is the heal itself, and the second healing component is the shield that's converted into healing, effectively doubling the generation. Fey Blessing can also be cast as a weak spell, but it is quite tricky to get off. I will get into this later. After all your weak heals are done, simply cast one single final heal like Opposition to critically heal the party one last time and let the fight begin for real. To actually do the gear swap, simply set up 2 gear sets, one of them fully naked, and one of them with your normal gear set. Start naked, then swap to your full gear set as soon as you've buffered your heals. If you want to, you can also try automating this in macros. And now, we enter the realm of the pet peeves. As with everything, there are pet peeves. After all, not only the healers need to gear swap, it's everyone doing it. If you don't know what you're doing, this can become extremely annoying and will wipe your party a lot. Most speedkill teams turn away from this strategy because they are afraid of these pet peeves, but there are solutions for all of them. First off, how do casters like Black Mage swap their gear? After all, they are casting, and you can't swap while casting. Also, if you gear swap before your first fire free, you will receive natural regeneration, and since you're out of combat, it will instantly shoot you outside of critical range. You can fix this quite simply by gear swapping during the slide cast window. When you hit the slide cast window, your strong damage has already locked in, so you can quickly swap gear sets back and forth before starting the thunder free cast. The same concept applies to Reapers casting Harpy. For both of these jobs, you can use a macro that looks like this. Simply press it right before the slide cast window, and it will queue up a bunch of gear swaps to make sure that you swap back and forth in time. Any other job will just simply swap their gear just before the fight starts, and you're good to go. But wait, there's more. If you thought you understood what to do, clicked off the video and failed to do it properly, welcome back. But you do owe me a like and a sub. The final annoyance with pre-pull limit break generation lies in the natural regeneration tick. Once in every so many pulls, you will run into the issue that while you are doing your gear swap, you get a natural regeneration tick in that split second before the fight starts. This can seriously suck, since it will stop you from generating LB. It will force you to wipe or continue with lower LB, and it tends to waste a lot of pulls, since it's impossible to predict when this natural regeneration tick occurs. Or is it? Every 3 seconds, you get what we call a tick. In this clip, I have edited in a visual representation of when you will get your next tick. This tick is also called the actor tick, but don't ask me why. If you've played with or as a black mage before, you might recognize it as the mana tick, but it actually also affects your health ticks. While you might think that these ticks are randomly distributed throughout the party and thus extremely desynced, it's not entirely true. When you queue into an instance, everyone's actor ticks will pretty much be perfectly synced. However, when someone dies, the actor tick is paused, and this is where the desync can occur, which will mess up your actor ticks. But dying can also be used to resync very easily. All you need to do is die. If your actor ticks become desynced, do a gear swap and watch your health bar. You'll see that every 3 seconds you get that health tick, and all everyone needs to do is to make sure that they die as soon as they get that health tick. Since everyone died roughly at the same time, everyone's actor tick is now synced. Simply have the countdown players swap their gear again, and once again start the countdown at the same time as they get a tick, with a length of either 5, 8, 11, 14, etc. This will cause everyone to receive their final heal tick consistently 2 seconds before the fight starts, meaning you will never ever pick up a stray health tick that you don't want. If the fight doesn't allow for you to use the wall like in P9S, you can always do an extremely fast re-instance and be completely resynced again. If you aren't very happy doing this wiping tactic, then well, you can quite reliably always get this technique off on at least 5 or 6 members, even without syncing. The odds of you getting an actor tick when you don't want it is around 1 in 20 depending on the job, so it's really not big of a deal if you miss 1 or 2 targets. As I mentioned before, Scholars are able to use a weak Fey Blessing for a full round of critical healing ticks. Getting a weak Fey Blessing in is pretty tough though. You can't just weave it after the sucker pre-pull since the blessing is delayed and will activate after your gear swap, making it strong. We can circumvent this with a very nasty piece of fairy abuse. If you command your fairy to move, then press an ability, it will execute the move command first entirely before stopping to cast the ability. So, in the pre-pull, we can cast the fairy away, and when the pull is about to start, command it to come back and cast Fey Blessing closely at the same time as our sucker. Timing on this is pretty strict, but I'll leave it as an exercise to the viewer to try and figure out a good setup for yourself. My tip is to use the maximum range of a move command to get a fixed distance in, then use a move to self macro to get eels to run over. Anyway, good luck with that. And once again, you now have all the resources that you need to generate incredible amounts of LB in all content. As usual, there are little details I glanced over, and I skip over things to keep these videos short for your pleasurable viewer experience. So, if I missed anything, let me know. Please do consider subscribing and liking the video for more cool stuff like this. Any questions can be sent over Discord or here in the comment section.